Hi, friends. It's Diane, the Creative Inkster. Today is Friday, January 16th, and I'm coming to you from my home in Guelph, Ontario, Canada. And I'm recording my presentation today because I'm actually not in Guelph. I am in Stratford, Ontario, looking after my grandson for some time while his parents are enjoying a holiday. So I wanted to participate and do this by video. So I thank you for watching and tuning in. The products that I'm going to show today are the Sunshine and Tulips stamp set and dies. It's a bundle, so you get to save 10%. And of course, right now, lots of good things going on. So we'll talk about those as we go along, but keep the term bonus days in mind because for every $60 you spend, you will, here, I'm sure that's going to be different in different markets, but there is a percentage that you will receive back in rewards you can use on a future order between February 3rd and the 28th. Plus, you get Stampin' Rewards on orders. So, plus there's product of the month, which as I'm recording this, I don't know what it is yet, but you know now because it's out there. So lots of really good things to think of. So keep those in mind as you're looking at the products we're sharing over the next 2 days. So my thanks to Sandra for her great presentation ahead of me. And after me is Joy. So stay tuned. There's lots more to come. All right, Sunshine and Tulips. I really love this set. It is spoke to me right away from the catalog. I just love this, and I knew there was lots I could do with it. So we chose to do tools, and I wanted to show a little bit how you can use your dies in a bit of a different way. And so this is the big die if you haven't seen it yet. That I'm going to need this eventually, and I will show you these as well. Just tuck those away for now. And then I'm going to show you some storage ideas with these as well, or a storage idea with those as well. So what I was thinking about when I was using this was you can use this for way more than just a die. Yep, you can cut it out. This is what it looks like when it's all cut out. And you can cut out the flowers and insert them in as well. So there's lots of different ways to just use this as a die. But I wanted to use it as both an embossing folder, if you will, and as a stencil. So that's what I'm sharing today. So let's pull the Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine in. Oops. Add some light. There we go. And normally when you're using this machine, you are going to use your multi-purpose platform. And then this for the die cutting, it's just an extra shim that goes for the die cutting, and then 2 plates. And so with going to make this into an embossing folder, we're going to shift that a wee bit. So we're going to take this piece out, and we're going to add in this tool, which is the silicone mat. And it's in our catalog. And we are going to use this to basically cut into. So we'll put our cutting on the bottom. So it's our multi-purpose platform, cutting plate. And then we're going to take the die. Now I like cutting up into the images for this and down. I'm not quite sure why. It just seems to work for me. And I'm going to grab paper. So I've already cut this to 4 by 5 1/4. So like a normal layer that fits on a card. And I'm going to lay it over top, just like that. It's going to cut it out. If I cut my paper even a little bit larger, it's going to cut the whole thing out anyway. So I've got it with the cut side up, and then my paper on top, and then my silicone mat, which I have a couple of, and then another cutting plate on top. Stand up this through and see what that does. And what you get is this lovely embossed piece. Now, what you might find as you're doing this is it may not be strong enough of an image for you, so you might have to add a little paper shim. It depends on how your embossing machine is calibrated. They're all calibrated a little bit differently. Some are a little tighter than others. And so if you do need to, just put it in behind the silicone mat. Just a little piece of cardstock or even copy paper can work. Just play around with it a little bit. I just know for mine that just worked perfectly. So let's get the other pieces out that I need to finish my card here, and I'll show you the finished card. We have something. So this is the original one that I did, and this is cloud cover as a card base. I put a layer of white on the inside, and then here's the one that I did as an embossed layer, and then I added these cute little pieces here from the tulip. And the set comes with multiples of this, which made it a lot easier. So it comes with a total of 3 of the tulips. So I ran it through 4 times, and I put adhesive sheet on the back of my paper before I ran it through. And then that way I was able to peel them off and glue them down much more easily. So I've already cut those out just to save some time here. So we'll take our embossed piece that we've created, and then we just take these, which had adhesive sheet on them. And you don't have to do this. You could leave this just as it is. But I wanted to add a pop of color because for me, there's nothing that speaks more to me about spring than yellow. And lemon lolly is my yellow of choice. And a dark blue. So in this case, I'm using Secret Sea. Very close to Night of Navy, which is also the color that I often go to on this. And but this time I'm using Secret Sea. And it just, to me, really, really speaks to freshness and spring and life that happens in the spring. So I really like that. So I'm going to quickly add these on, or hope to be doing it quickly enough. And this front layer. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to talk about the fact that I'm also going to put a plain one piece on the inside of my Secret Sea card base. And the reason for that is Secret Sea is awfully dark, and that will make it a little difficult unless you're using a white gel pen or a lightly colored gel pen. But I find too that even when I have a white card base or a light colored card base, like I have with cloud cover, I find I have a lot on the front of the card. If there isn't an extra layer on the back, it tends to fall forward. It loses its ability to be balanced. So that helps balance it out a bit. Plus, it adds a nice little layer. It doesn't usually add a lot to the cost of mailing, or I don't find that it pops it over the amount for the next level. You'll just have to kind of know that about your own mailing system. Many of my cards are in the mail, but I still give lots away in person and attached to packages and in customer bags and so on and so forth. So I'm still handing out a lot and find that I just really like the look of this. And then if you want to stamp, that's on the inside of your card. That's another way to add something to the inside of your card without adding any weight or texture or anything to it to affect the mailing. Here we go. 12 little tulips on here fairly quickly. You know, somebody's probably going, why is she not using her Take Your Pick tool? Oh, I just find my fingernails work real well for this. All right, here's this. And then I've got the new Secret Sea ribbon. This is called Bordered Open Weave Ribbon. And I'm going to tie it around here. So when I do a bow on the front, I will go all the way around. I think because this ribbon is so thick, I did a small piece and I tacked it at the back, and then I did a knot on the front because it's rather thick. But in this case, I think I'm going to wrap it right around. Much thinner, a little bit easier to work with. Grab my ribbon scissors here, snip off some, and tie a knot, not a bow. I find with my customers, most of them find that tying bows can be a lot. And so let's not do bows, let's just do a knot. So people always ask me, how do I do it to get a fairly decent bow or knot on there? So this is how I do it. I go left over right and under, and then I pull them somewhat tight, hold it with my pinky, and then I go left over the top or back. That's the back one over the top and through. And then I just gently pull it. And it tends to, most of the time, land fairly flat. This is a really thin ribbon as compared to that one in texture. And so I didn't have to worry too much about it being too much of a thick bow. All right, I know that's wasted, right? But oh well. There's my knot on there, and I'm happy with it. All righty, so let's finish the card by adding some glue to this layer. I am a liquid glue girl. Enjoy putting that. Oh, and look at that. It's already on there. I must have grabbed one that was already done. Great. I'm ahead of the game. And then I'm going to pop this guy up on dimensionals. Let's find some of those. These are a little bit different shape. They come from a paper pumpkin pack. I'm just using them up. So I can put lots on here. Just a little bit smaller size. And then that will be my embossed version of using a die or using the tool in a different way. All right. Doesn't that look beautiful? Doesn't that just scream spring? I don't know, something about it I just love. And then I'm going to also, to this, do a greeting. And where are those pieces here? I had a couple of options for that. I'm going to do a circle this time. So I just pre-cut these out. This is a Stylish Shapes stitched circle. You can barely see that it's stitched there. There we go. And then this is a 1 7/8 inch circle punch in Secret C. So the greeting on here that I wanted for this card was just a simple hello. One thing that I have found with the new stamps, the way that they are on paper, is sometimes when I've had them open and they're still quite sticky on the side that does the stamping. It's actually torn the paper when I've tried to lift them off. So I was trying to remember to keep those sheets that come with it to slide it in. I found that's what's happening with mine, but it's no big deal. Just something to be mindful of as I push them together. All right, it's got a small little block here. And we'll just put a little hello on this. Probably a big thing for that. You know what? I think what we'll do something different. We'll take Secret C and we'll just put it right on that layer. So we'll do my practice over here. I always still do practicing. I'm just going to put the hello right in here. Bold, huh? Given that I'd already got most of the card done. There you go. Very simple, straightforward, except it needs rhinestones. It needs something. And when I don't have a specific, in the suite, if it's a suite, and I don't have a specific embellishment to go with, then I will reach around and grab my rhinestones, or I'll color some pearls or something. So I'm just going to sprinkle a couple of these here and there, but I love rhinestones. They're just perfect for everything. They go with everything pretty much, unless it's goldish. But anyway, there we go. We have a finished card. So that's the first one. And that was my original sample. Now I'm going to move on and show you how to make also a stencil. So this is my finished card, and I wanted to be able to make a stencil on the layer behind with those tulips. So then I put a cut piece on top. I'm going to keep that with that. And how I made the stencil was I grabbed a piece of the backing from Designer Series paper, And I'm going to cut it down a wee bit, but I just wanted to show you that's what I was using because it's got some sturdiness to it. And so I want to use this stencil over and over again. As a result, I want it to be fairly sturdy. So just tuck that back in my pile of backings of paper like we all have, right? And it really doesn't matter what I cut this to because the die is going to cut it right out. Let's bring that Stampin' Cut and Emboss machine back in here. I'm going to use this the regular way for dies, and that's your platform, your die piece shim that goes here, a cutting plate, my paper, and my die. So normally I do cut into the plate. I just on the other one, just because I was using the silicone mat, I did it a little differently. So slide another plate on top, and we'll run this through. Apologies for the movement here. This feels really tight. Okay. And it's going through, but it is tight. Not quite sure why. I have some brand new plates that could have an effect on it. Let's move this out the way. Now we just pop these out. And if you did it in a color, like a cardstock color, wow, you could really use these little tulips for something. You could put them in a shaker card. Like there's lots of things you can do with those. So don't want to throw those away. You can reuse them for something. Because that's what we crafters do, isn't it? Oops, wrong one. And grab my other take your pick tool, the pokey end, and use that just to poke this out. Yeah, so using that backing, it is a bit thicker than cardstock, and so it is a little tighter going through, but it did go through just fine. And here we are. There's our stencil. I could have gone in and used the non-glossy side of it. It doesn't matter because I'm just using it over top as a stencil. So if it slides around a wee bit, that's going to be okay. All right, let's look at the sample again. And we have a white on the inside there. And let's pull our pieces in for this card. So we have a piece of navy, which I have then cut out. So we can tuck that aside. And we have a card base in Lemon Lolly. And a piece of white to go on the inside. Aha, but we do remember we already have one that's sticky. So let's use that guy. And the glue is still sticky on there from a few minutes ago. Tuck this guy in here. There we go. There's our card front. And then we're going to get messy. We're going to grab Lemon Lolly and my blending brush and my stencil. Now you could tape your stencil down. I did cut them so they'd be around the same size. You could put some temporary adhesive or a little teeny bit of adhesive down and even washi tape to hold it in place. I'm not going to worry about that too much. I'm just going to hold it with my hand. Hopefully that's all going to go well. Here we go. All right, we're living dangerously. And so I just ink up my blending brush and then go over top. Now, the only thing you want to be mindful of is not going over the edge if you are on something that is then going to show up. If there was another bit of edge here on your piece. But I don't have to worry about that too much here. And, you know, you could do this almost in a graduated color as well. You could go in and go yellow and then maybe pink or red or orange or another color in there. Pumpkin pie might look good. And then you get a two-tone look on your tulips. So remember, this is a bundle with a stamp set and dies. And so it's definitely going to be priced over the bonus days deal. And so by buying this one or other bundles at this price point, you will earn your bonus days credit plus your Stampin' Rewards that you get automatically. And if your order comes to the minimum for product of the month, then you would also be able to purchase that. So an amazing stacking ability here to really reap some amazing savings. I hope you like this bundle. I do. I really do. Okay. I think I might have moved it a little bit there. But there we go. And I have it in different sort of shading a little bit lighter in spots than other spots. That's the idea. When I first did this in practice run, I went, oh, well, it doesn't look so great. But then once I added the darker color with it, wow, total wow factor. So I really, really liked it. So now I'm just going to glue these two pieces together, my liquid glue. It has some nice stitching too on the edge, which I think adds to it. And because I've got color in between, I'm going to put some adhesive in between as well so that it doesn't sort of, warp isn't the right word, but you know, where it will lift up a wee bit. And then you'll see the white underneath. There we go. Okay. So add a generous amount of glue there, and then we'll lay this guy down and line it up nicely. Here we go. Beautiful. And if your piece turns out to be a little bit too big, just get your paper snips or your paper trimmer out and trim it down a wee bit. Where's our base? Here's our base in Lemon Lolly, which I found really, as I did with the pink here, really popped off. And for my ribbon on this one, because we didn't have any ribbon in Lemon Lolly, and I like Lemon Lolly, I'm going to grab my Stampin' Blend, the dark one, and use the brush tip end. And this is the beige classic ribbon. So I don't need a huge amount, but I think maybe about here. And I'm just going to color it. So if you've never done this before, it's a great reason to have Stampin' Blends and an awesome reason to buy white or beige ribbon, because you can color it any color you want and you've got your coordinating colors working for you right there. Done it in navy too, but I'm doing the Lemon Lolly. Flip it over, and I just flip it over to see, you know, is it uneven in any spots? Because when I tie the knot, you'll see both sides. That should be long enough. Yep. Grab those ribbon scissors. Now, because it's beige, it might have a little bit less of a bright yellow look to it. It might end up being just a little bit more muted, and it is a bit tight. So let me just do the other way, which is cutting it kind of like in half. All right, a way to save some. And then I'm going to add some adhesive to the back. So a couple of different ways I do this with my customers. I'll either use dimensionals to hold it down, or I'll grab some tear and tape and put that down. I'm not a big stamp and seal person, more liquid glue. And so tear and tape is my go-to as a tape. We all have our preferences. There we go. Just fold that over, and there we have it. And then I'll take the other piece that I also colored, or the other half, and slide it underneath and tie a little knot. Just an overhand knot there. I still have a fair bit I can trim off. There we go. Okay, and that's my personalized or coordinated ribbon for this project. And then I'm going to do a little greeting as well, but I'm going to pop this up on dimensionals. See where they landed. If there's anything I'm searching for on my stamp table, it's almost always dimensionals. I have no idea where they go. They just seem to slide under something every single time. A little bit more here, give it lots of If you mail the card, the last thing you want it to do is to sort of sag in the middle. This will keep it popped up nicely. Alrighty. That to the front. And then for our greeting, this is the die that comes in the set, and it works really nicely with sending a garden of love. And if friends were flowers, I'd pick you, and I've used that one already. So let's use the other one. Pretty brand new. So stamp sets go. This is another good reason to have a silicone craft mat. I think one with my die cutting stuff and one for coloring on, and one sort of, this one's the messy one. And I just put the stamp set down, or the stamp down on that, and then pick it up with the block. It won't stick to the silicone mat, which makes it ideal. And we are using Night of Navy. Let's get a coordinating ink. Ink it up, give it a trial run. Lovely. Right down there. Perfect. And I wanted to also do a little popping up with die cutting this up. So I'm going to grab the Stampin' Cut Emboss machine. Actually, I should grab the little baby one for this. But I'm going to make another die cut using the same one. Which, of course, now I've tucked away. Didn't we see where it flew to? There it is. I'm going to also die cut this out and make a mat for my greeting. Something you may or may not have heard before. If you put your dies on an angle, so not always straight through, but more on an angle, it makes less of a clunky noise, but it's a little gentler on your dies as they go through the machine. It's hitting more surfaces, I guess, or less all at the same time. So with that, that's my piece. And I'm going to layer it up here like that, just to give it a little more interest. I have done this before. That would be that would be nice. Look at that. I think I like it the other way, but good to know, because look at that. It just almost lines the points up perfectly. Cool. I think I'm going to do it this way. Add a little bit of liquid glue to this part. Always different ways to do it, eh? That. Straighten it out a wee bit. Add some dimensionals. We'll pop this up. Over top the ribbon, I think, in this case. And then perhaps some of those rhinestones. And those here and there. So pretty. Oh, it makes me want the snow to go away. I'm ready. I'm ready. You haven't had it long, but I'm ready. I'm going to hide a little ink that got on there. So that means I get to add more rhinestones to, oops, that one came off. Oh, I think it's lost its sticky. There it is. I left it on the sheet. There we go. Flip that guy over. Sure. And pick it up like a pair of tweezers. Nope. And with the fingers. And then this one up here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Here we go. Oh, sparkly. I love it. I love, love, love it. So here's the original one. And the ribbon I used on this is also new. Comes with the Cute as a Bug Sweet collection. It's Old Olive, and it's called Rick Rack, Specialty Rick Rack. And then the other ribbon that I used on my first card here with the cloud cover is this cloud cover textured ribbon. And it is 5/8 of an inch. So it's a much wider ribbon. And it has, gorgeous texture. This is beautiful. I'll be using a lot of this. All right, that's it, almost it for me. I also wanted to just show one other way to do your stencils. So this bundle, Lovely Arrangements, this is one where I have it put together in the same sleeve. So each of these, the stamp set and the dies, come in separate sleeves. So what I typically do is take one of the sleeves and set it aside, and I'll use it to put embellishments or other things in. And then I can hold both of these, the stamp set and the dies, in here. So here's my stamp set with the sheet still on it. And the dies, which I have not yet put on a magnetic sheet, but I will. And these dies have 2 pieces here. So I've cut them out with 2 different types of materials. This one, that's the size of it. I've cut it out on some backing paper. And I've already done some sponging, so I'm going to show you that. And then this one, I cut in just a piece of Misty Moonlight, I think this is. And so I just cut that die out, and I used it as a stencil to get the diamond shapes. So I'm going to show you how I use my blending brush for that. You could also use a sponge or a sponge dauber. That would work too. So I have this piece here of cardstock. I don't even know the size. What size is it? It is 3 3/4 by 5. And I'm just going to show you, not doing a finished card, but I'm just going to show you how I'm use this to kind of add a background onto it. Let's pull that lemon lolly back in. I'm just going to go around it. Sorry for that jiggling camera. We're all on the same table here. So you see how I've got some color down there. Let me pull that up so you can see it a little better. And then I'm just going to twist this a little bit and move it out. And I'm going to add more all the way around. Again, I think it looks nice when it's all different textures of color or depth of color, not all the same depth of color or saturation of color. I think that lends itself nicely. And then over here again, and it's okay if they overlap a little bit. You're just making a cute little background for a scrapbook page or a card or a tag. This would be great for tags. You could do a whole sheet of these. And then just add the tags, cut the tags out from there. All right, so there you go. Just using that one, and I just added different color here and there. And then on this piece with the other die, and the piece I cut in Misty Moonlight, I wanted to get these on a bit of an angle. Let's see now, how did I start? How did I figure out how I started it? There we go. So I can get these on a bit of an angle. So this one you do have to be careful with not going on the outside edge of the scallops, because then you're going to get ink there. And what I'm trying to achieve here is just the little diamonds. So see how carefully I can do that. And I'm going to lift it up. And because it's totally uniform, I can go over and line up that scallop with the next round of where I left off. So where I left off with my sponging, I can just line up that scallop edge. tuck you over there a wee bit. There we go. And ink up and carry on. Once again, being careful not to go on the outside edges so I don't twist or muck this up. And as you can see, I do like to live dangerously and don't tack it down. That's okay. I'm excited to watch the videos from these 2 days myself and see different ways and techniques for using our products, and see which of my gist friends are using what products. As you get to the edge, you've got smaller pieces to work with. And then you can go down here as well because it's totally uniform and just keep adding. So you get the idea. You're just going to go all the way across and all the way across, and then you get just another pattern, another way to use your dies other than just cutting a die piece out. Well, thank you again for watching. I really appreciate you being here and checking out our videos this last couple of days. Remember to contact the demonstrator who invited you to the event and thank her with an order. Remember to consider the product of the month, placing a minimum amount for your bonus days qualification, and reaping your Stampin' Rewards on a future order. Thanks again. Have a wonderful January. Enjoy the event, and I'll see you next time. Bye.